Right, so a little bit different. I'm going to do maybe kind of a repair video, or at least a pre-repair video. So this stratocaster is an Austin brand stratocaster. You can see I sanded the name off because I transformed it. Cool story with this. It's technically my second guitar. I went out as a 14-year-old, or maybe a 13-year-old. I don't know. I was in 8th grade, whatever grade you're in when you're, whatever age you're in when you're in 8th grade. And my brother was a guitarist, so he took me out to go buy my first guitar at a pawn shop, and he talked me into getting a J Tercer Telecaster. And really, you could buy a worse guitar than a J Tercer Telecaster for your first guitar. But I realized almost instantly that I didn't like it. I didn't love the sound of either of the pickups. I did not like really the body style at the time. I just kind of got it because my brother talked me into it. So almost immediately, I played it maybe for a couple of months, decided it just wasn't my thing, and then I went back to the same pawn shop where I bought it, and I traded for this, which at the time, this was a bone stock Austin Stratocaster, and this was for sale for 65 bucks. The J Tercer Telecaster I paid for it brand new. The pawn shop was actually a J Tercer retailer. I paid, I think, $140, maybe $120. One of those two. So he traded me straight over for this Austin Strat, since this was for sale for only 65 bucks. I love this color. It's maroon. You can see the wood grain in it. And yeah, at the time it was just 3 singles, Johnson brand pickups. And this was really a significant guitar because this was the first guitar that I ever modded. I realized pretty quick that I didn't love the sound. I wanted to play kind of a hard rock style, and 3 singles wasn't doing it. So I saved up my 30 bucks to get an entry-level humbucker, went to my local music store and bought one, and picked up a soldering iron and started figuring things out. The rest is history. Now, I actually sold this guitar to my best friend and my rhythm guitarist in my band at the time. I sold this to him for the same 65 I paid for it, except it had been upgraded. Anyhow, when I was a teenager, I put a bridge pickup from a Mexican Telecaster in here, and then I put, the brand was called Razor. I don't know if that's still a brand anymore, but a Razor humbucker, had a Fender bridge single coil in the middle, and then it just had the Austin neck pickup in it. So fast forward 12, 13 years, and I reconnected with my buddy after a while. He went to the Army, and we went to different schools, kind of like different lives, but we ended up working at the same place 13 years later. Come to find out that he still had this guitar, and he wasn't playing it much, so I couldn't help myself. I bought it back from him. And then so these are now, so I guess that was so 3 years ago he and I reconnected. He wanted to upgrade this because he was hoping that someday he would play it. So I had these Dragonfire Screamers laying around from a different project. And then I had this. This is also a Mexican Fender pickup, but this is actually a middle position pickup from Mexican Fender Strat. So I still wasn't great at wiring when I built this, or when I did these pickups. So I finished it up, and I have realized now I wanted to borrow it from him. I decided to buy it from him. But this is split, and it's eternally split. It can't go into humbucker mode, and I tried to make it splittable. So a couple of problems. This knob turns the wrong way, and I think that I now know what causes that. And then this pickup doesn't split at all, and I can't remember if this one does. So I'm gonna open it up to fix it. Also, fun fact, when I was putting in these humbuckers, there wasn't quite enough room in this neck pickup cavity for a humbucker, so I had to route that out. I just used a Dremel, and it ended up working really great. So you can kind of see this push-pull pot right here is a mess. So I've got the leads to split hooked up to it, but I don't think that there is a ground going to that. I think that's probably why they're not splitting, is because there's not a ground. Maybe I'll have to pull it out and find out. So also I would guess that I wired one of the wires to the wrong places, which is why it's causing this to reverse. So let's take a peek. I wasn't planning on showing videos of the actual repair, but I think I will try to at least show the diagnosis. Okay, clearly this wrench is too big. That's an 11. I'm probably looking for a 10. What about a 7/16? Too big. My wrenches here are a mess. That's an 8. There's a 10. This ought to work. There we go. Okay. And I guess while I've got this off, I might as well tear the plastic off the pick guard. And also I might put a couple of washers underneath as spacers so that this doesn't stick out so far as well. Okay. And my workbench is a mess. I just am realizing that. Put those over there. Tear off this plastic. Okay. So now that I've got this pot out, okay, that's very interesting. This ground is barely holding on here. I don't know if you can see that. But there's a ground wire running from ground down to this pot. I'm pretty sure these are reversed. I'm going to switch those. But there's nothing connecting these where they're split to ground. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this to this side, and I'm going to try and ground this to these, and we'll see if that works or not. Fingers crossed. My focus on my camera is way better. So I took that little piece of wire, that bare wire, and you can see it's connected to ground, and it's connected to that little post to ground those. And then right up here I swapped this red one with this white one on this side, and I think that will make it so I can turn the knob the correct way for the volume. I'm hoping putting that ground in right there will make the push-pull function work correctly. So fingers crossed. I've got 3 washers here that I'm going to put inside, so it'll drop it a little bit down from the pick guard so that the knob doesn't stick up as far. I'll probably end this video hopefully playing it successfully, but we'll find out. So this time, instead of just throwing my hands up in the air and praying to the guitar gods that this works, I'm going to do some tests. So I'm plugged in here to my crate amp. This is just kind of a garbage amp that I keep around for mostly to play bass through. But it has built-in effects. I'm going to turn the reverb on really loud, so we can see. So right now I have the volume turned counterclockwise all the way. The volume should be off. Okay, we're not hearing anything through the amp, and I am in the bridge position. Oh, we hear it. We hear that one. So we're getting good stuff from both coils. Now let's theoretically split it. Nothing. We've got it. So this inside coil is the one split, and I actually like that. I know it's a little bit softer maybe than having it by the bridge, not quite as twangy, but that's what I was going for. Test the next position. Working. Perfect. Next one. Perfect. If you didn't see, only the middle pickup made any noise. Now, interesting, we're in the split position. Let's just try it. Okay, that's what we want. So, interesting. I wired this a little funky. So, if it's down, then this one's split. See? So this is currently split, and this is in the down position. Flick it to bridge, up position. Now it's split. So at this point, I could go back and fix this. I only put 4 screws in, so it'd be easy to pull apart and redo. But since I don't have a position that uses both of these, I might just leave that quirk to be a quirk. So I may have it out to leave this unsplit and in for split and reverse for the bridge. Because I just kind of like quirks. This is a quirky guitar, so I think I'm going to leave that as is. I do think that I could fix that by just switching these to switching some pole pieces around, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that. So we'll see what happens. A couple notes, and maybe I'll get some of your opinions. So I remember this jack having history of getting loose, both when I owned it and then after I sold it to my best friend. I'd always tighten it and it would get loose again. So I put another nut on the outside of it to hold it in place. I don't know if there's any differing opinions of whether or not that's effective or not. I mean, in my experience in automotive, I would say that should hold it pretty tight to have that nut locking that one in place. And here it doesn't impede the cord at all. So I'm going to give that a shot. Again, this is very much, was a beginner's guitar. And another thing I mentioned, I generally find Strats boring, and I really wanted this guitar to have some quirks, so I mismatched all the knobs. This is a knob from an Ibanez RV470, which actually has one of these knobs on it. This is an Epiphone knob. Actually, it's a Gibson knob. If you watch my Chibson video, I bought a set of Gibson knobs for it, did the wiring wrong, had to rewire it. I broke one of these taking them off, so I bought another set, so I have a bunch of these left over. And these are the knobs that my Chibson originally came with, these orange ones. So, again, if you want to leave a comment about whether you think that's stupid or if you like it or whatever, feel free to. Doesn't bother me, and I'm genuinely a little bit curious. At the end of the day, I think I like it, and I think I'll keep it. I did keep the stock knobs just in case I don't. I'm definitely keeping this gold one for the push-pull. A, it has better grip, and B, I just like the way it looks there. I might switch these back to white, or I might change these to match, because I do have one of each as a spare. I'm about to string it up. A couple of notes. Again, I guess not again. I've probably never said this. I obviously have like 5 views on all my videos. I'm obviously not endorsed by anyone, but I will just say, if you're watching this, F1 oil is awesome for shining up fretboards. This one was pretty bad. Another product that I use on my guitars is Tune It. It's the same brand, Music Nomad. You just use a little bit of this on your saddles and your nut, and so when you bend your strings, they don't bind. And then one other thing that I do, and again, your thoughts on this, but for polishing frets, this is what I had in my house, and I didn't have any money to go buy something else. So I use this to polish frets. This guitar has been sitting for many years because my friend, again, never played the guitar. I tried to put some new pickups in it to inspire him to play, and he still never did. So I've used this on a Harley Benton SC400, and I use it on this guitar, and I'm impressed with it. It doesn't get my frets super silky smooth, and I don't know if it's the compound or if it's my technique, but let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I know for sure that this needs a good setup. The action was really high when I brought it in, so I'm gonna check the straightness of the neck. I'm gonna check the intonation, then I'll adjust the saddles. Generally, just give this guitar a good setup, and then I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in and play it. It's done. My first guitar that I bought about 13 years ago. Did a little bit of work for my buddy on it, who owned it at the time 3 years ago. Now I own it, and I've fixed everything. So things that I didn't record, because there's already tons of videos on these on YouTube who are better at it than I am. I fine-tuned it, which basically you just grab the harmonic and the note, and if it's sharp, you pull back the string, make it longer. If it's flat, you put the string forward, make it sharper or make it shorter. So I fine-tuned it. Maybe not perfect, I was just using the snark tuner, but pretty good. I adjusted the pickup height on each pickup to relatively get the sound that I want. And then I straightened the neck, and I don't have a neck level tool, so I just go up at the higher frets and see how level this string looks across the frets. Got it pretty good. Lowered the saddles down so the action is close enough to the fretboard. And I love the way it's set up. I'm happy with it. This is just through my crate solid state amp that I really just use as a bass amp, but I haven't unpacked on my good gear from my last show. But yeah, this is my the bridge pickup. You can really tell that's a humbucker. But then now I can split it. You can definitely tell it's a single coil. Now going to the neck pickup, I have to remember this is a little quirky. I got to pull this now out to get the humbucker sound. So yeah, really good, solid neck sound. Push it in, and then I'm going to get the single coil sound. Whoops. Oh, sorry. I hit my switch into the in between these positions doesn't sound really good. Sounds like a neck humbucker or a neck single coil. And then this middle one, I'm loving for clean tone. between. That's humbucker single. I can split the humbucker. That's two singles. I can do the neck in middle. It just doesn't sound good. I think they're out of phase or something. I'm not sure why that position doesn't sound good. I'm gonna just touch on my gain again. This is crate amp distortion, so it's not gonna sound wonderful. Nice fat sounding humbucker. Kind of a Stratty sounding split sound there. And then full fat humbucker neck. Yeah, this is a great guitar. And again, so let's just say you build this exactly as I built it. You start out with a $65 used beginner level Strat. You clean up the frets, polish a little bit. Let's say you spend $10 in materials that you're going to use for every guitar for the rest of your life. These Dragonfires are steel at $36 per set. This is all US, and then a push-pull pot for $5. You'd be in for 40, 50, $115-ish for this exact guitar, and for $115 for all these tones, I think is a steal. And to be honest, depending on how long I keep this, and if I play more shows, things like that, I may try and figure out why the in-between position doesn't sound great between the neck pickup and the middle pickup. And then if I keep it, two more upgrades that I will be doing is the tuners and the bridge. So it's really kind of you can't use the bridge as a tremolo. It just will never stay in tune. So I would probably upgrade the bridge with like a Mexican Fender bridge. You can usually find them used on eBay for like $30. And I would probably get some Fender tuners. I have some Fender tuners on my Telecaster that work great. And I think, again, those can be had used on eBay for around $30. So I would put another $60 into this and make it a $175 Strat. But really, good value for money in my opinion. One other note, I guess that I would just say, objectively, I would change the neck. The neck profile is really good. It's a nice shape in the back. It's not too fat or too skinny. The size of the frets is fairly good, but I would like an extra fret or two or three. It's a 21 fret guitar, which is fairly standard for Stratocasters. If I would spend money on a new neck if this was a brand new guitar. However, for sentimental value, I'll probably keep the neck that's on it because, I mean, some of these dings are mine. Some of these dings are my buddy's, but I mean, he's my buddy and he was in my high school band, 10 years ago or 11 or 12 years ago. But all of these modifications are my own from various stages in my life. So for sentimental reasons, I'm probably going to keep this neck. Objectively, I might change it out, but there are plenty of budget Strats out there that you'll find reviews for on eBay that have better necks than probably this Austin, and that probably have 22 frets. But yeah, no one probably watched this video. If you did, I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you find your first guitar, if you're a seasoned guitarist, and turn it into something that you would actually play today.